Good morning. Okay, so I am continuing problems on journal entries today. So this question is expected for 12 marks from third chapter. Surely one question you can expect for your exam. Okay, so surely we'll expect one question. So for 12 marks, for how many marks? 12 marks. Okay, this question is, this type of questions can be expected. Okay, write the question. First, journalize the following transactions. The following transactions in the books of Sri Bharat. In the books of Sri Bharat, make 3 columns: date, transaction, amount. Date, transaction, amount. Okay, write down. 2016, September 1st, started business with cash. Started business with cash, rupees 50,000. See, only once I have written the year. See, this transaction, all these transactions which I have written below belongs to which year? 2016 it means. Okay, I need not write this year repeatedly. Once if I mention here, that means this transaction are all related to which year? 2016. Okay, next, September 3rd, opened an account in Canara Bank, rupees 10,000. Rupees 10,000. Next, September 6th, cash purchases, rupees 20,000. Cash purchases, rupees 20,000. Next, September 8th, bought goods from Radha Krishna, rupees 25,000. Rupees 25,000. Next, September 10th, sold goods for cash, rupees 30,000. Rupees 30,000. Next, September 15th, sold goods to Bhavana on credit, rupees 23,000. Rupees 23,000. Next, September 18, cash paid to Radha Krishna on account, rupees 15,000. Rupees 15,000. Okay, next, September 25th, received check from Bhavana in full settlement, offer account, rupees 22,500. Rupees 22,500. Next, September 26th, paid rent by check, rupees 2,000. Rupees 2,000. Next, September 28th, interest credited to our account at Canara Bank, rupees 300. Rupees 300. Next, September 30, paid salary, rupees 3,000. Rupees 3,000. Okay, now let us continue with the journal entries. Now put the format. Date, journal entries in the books of Sri Bhavan. Okay. Put the format. Date, particulars, LF, debit, credit. Let us continue with the first transaction. What is the first transaction? September 1st, started business with cash. Okay, business Sri Bhavan, he has started business with cash rupees 50,000. Here you record, while passing journal entries, you have to record all the transactions from the viewpoint of the business. Okay, whenever proprietor is owner, when he introduces cash, assets into the business, a separate account called as capital account is opened in the name of the owner. I will not write the name of the owner. I will not take into account the name of the owner. Okay, now business, he has started business with cash. Okay, what the business is taking? Cash. Who is giving the cash? Owner. I cannot write the name of the owner here. Instead, I should write? I should open a separate account, capital account in his name. Okay, capital account. Why? Because business is different and owner is different. And whatever transactions we record in the business, it has to be recorded from the viewpoint of the business. Okay, cash is the asset. What is cash? Cash is the asset. Capital is being introduced by whom? By the owner. So, owner is a natural person. Who is owner? Owner is a natural person. Okay. Now, if it is asset, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account test? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Okay, this is the real account. And if it is natural person, which account rule we have to follow? Personal account rule. Which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account test? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Debit the receiver, right? Credit the giver. Now, think from the viewpoint of the business. Cash account is involved. Cash is coming in or going out of the business? It is coming in. So, I will debit cash account. I will not consider this credit aspect. Okay, next, capital. Okay, business, capital, the owner is giving or receiving? He is the giver. So, what should I do? Capital, credit. What should I do? I should credit capital. So, what is the date of the transaction? 2016, September 1st. So, what is the journal entry? Cash account debit to capital account. Cash account debit to capital account. What's the value? 50,000. Okay. So I should write the narration. What is the narration? Business started with cash. Okay. So this is the narration. Okay, now let us move on to the next transaction, second transaction. Opened an account in Canara Bank. business is opening an account in the Canara Bank. Okay. So by depositing rupees 10,000. Who is the receiver? Who is taking here 10,000? Bank. What the business is giving? Cash. What the business is giving? Cash. Bank is what? Bank is an artificial person. What is bank? Bank is an artificial person. Okay, if it is artificial person, which account rule? Personal account rule. If it is artificial person, which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account is? Debit the receiver. Okay, credit the giver. Debit the receiver and credit the giver. Cash is an asset. Cash is what? Cash is an asset. If it is asset, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account is? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Okay. Now here, what thing? Bank account is involved. Bank is the receiver or giver of money? Bank is the receiver. Opened a bank account in Canara Bank. Okay. Bank business has opened an account with Canara Bank by depositing rupees 10,000. So it is the receiver. So from the business, cash is going out or coming in? It is going out. It is going out. So what should I do? I should credit cash. So what is the journal entry? What should I debit? What is the date of the transaction? September 3rd. September 3rd. Okay, what should I debit? Bank account. Bank account debit. Bank account debit to cash account. To cash account. What is the amount? 10,000. 10,000. Okay, so narration. Opened an account in Canara Bank. What is the narration? Opened an account in Canara Bank. In Canara Bank. Okay, this is the narration. Okay, now moving on to the next transaction. Next transaction is September 6th, cash purchases. September 6th, cash purchases. Business is purchasing goods on what? On cash. Okay, so what is happening? Cash, business is purchasing goods for cash. Okay, what is the take aspect? What the business is taking? Purchases. Purchases. What the business is giving? Cash. It is a cash purchase. If it was not cash purchase, if it was credit purchase, I would have written, instead of cash, I would have written the name of the party from whom goods are being purchased. That is the name of the supplier. But what type of purchase this is? This is cash purchase. What type of purchase this is? This is cash purchase. Okay. So here business is purchasing goods. Goods are what? Assets. Which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account is? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Okay. And cash is also a asset. Cash is also a asset. So which account rule we have to follow? Real account rule. What does real account is? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Okay. Now apply the rule. Apply the rule. So purchases. Okay. Business is purchasing goods. It is coming in or going out? It is coming in. So I will debit what? I will debit purchases. I will not consider this credit aspect. Okay. Cash. Business is purchasing goods for cash. Think from the viewpoint of the business. Cash is coming in or going out of the business? It is going out of the business. So I will credit what? I will credit cash. So what is the date of the transaction? September 8th. September 8th. Purchases account debit. Purchases account debit to cash account. To cash account. Amount is how much? narration is cash purchases. What is the narration? Cash purchases. Okay. Now moving on to the next transaction. The next transaction is bought goods from Radha Krishna. Okay, business is purchasing goods from whom? From Radha Krishna. So what is happening here? Business is purchasing goods from Radha Krishna. Okay, so what is the take aspect? Purchases. What is the take aspect? Purchases. Okay, here cash he has not given in the transaction. What he has given? Bought goods from Radha Krishna. He has given the name of the party. Okay, if he gives the name of the party, that means what type of purchases this is? Credit purchases. This is what? Credit purchase. Why? Cash is not involved here in the transaction. So it's a credit purchase. So what is the take aspect? Purchases. I cannot write goods here. Goods are split into what? Purchases, sales return and purchase return. I should write appropriate event name here. So what is the appropriate name here? Purchases. Purchases. Okay, take aspect is purchases. Give aspect. Who is giving? Radha Krishna. We are not paying cash. So we have to record this amount in the books of what? In the account of the Radha Krishna, that so much amount is due from Radha Krishna. Okay. Now here purchases of goods is an asset. We are purchasing goods. It is an asset. So which account rule? Real account rule. Real account rule. What does real account is? Debit what comes in? Credit what goes out. Debit what comes in? Credit what goes out. Okay. Radha Krishna is a person. Who is Radha Krishna? He is a person. Natural person. If it is natural person, which account rule we have to follow? We have to follow personal account rule. Which account rule? We have to follow personal account rule. What does personal account does? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Now, look here. Purchase account is involved. Business is purchasing goods. It is coming in or going out? It is coming in. So I will debit what? I will debit purchases. I will not consider this credit effect. Okay, now Radha Krishna, he is the receiver or giver of the goods? He is the giver of the goods. He is the giver of the goods. So I will credit what? Radha Krishna. I will credit what? Radha Krishna. So what is the date of the transaction? The date of the transaction is September 8. September 8. Okay. Purchases account debit. Purchases account debit to Radha Krishna. To Radha Krishna. Okay. What is the amount? Amount is 25,000. 25,000. Okay. So narration is purchase goods on credit. Purchased goods on credit. Purchase goods on credit. Okay. So this is the narration. Now moving on to the next transaction. Next transaction is sold goods for cash. Business is selling goods for what? Cash. Okay. So what is the take aspect in this transaction? What is the take aspect? Cash. What the business is selling goods for cash. What is the take aspect? Cash. What is the give aspect? What the business is giving? Goods. I cannot write goods here. I should write the event name. What is the event name? Sales. Sales. Business is selling goods. Okay. Cash is what? Cash is the asset. If it is asset, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account tells? Debit. What comes in here? The rules are. Okay. So real account tells debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Credit what goes out. Okay, now cash account is involved. Business is selling goods for cash. It is coming in or going out? It is coming in. So I will debit what? I will debit cash. I will not credit this. Okay. Next is sale. Sale of goods is asset. Goods is a asset. Okay. Which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account tells? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So sales, it is coming in or going out? It is going out. So I will consider credit aspect of this. Okay, I will not consider debit aspect. I will consider what? Credit aspect. So what should I debit? What is the date of the transaction? September 10th. Cash account debit to sales account. What is the value of the goods? The value of goods is 30,000. Okay. Narration. Cash sales. Narration what? What is the narration? Cash sales. Okay. So this is the narration. Now let us move on to the second transaction. Are sold goods for cash. You can write sold goods for cash. Sold goods for cash. Okay. So now this working is not required. Okay. So just you should write the format and you should write the journal entries. Working exam evaluator. Okay. He will not see. He will not see your working. So this is not required. If at all, if you are convenient, okay, by doing the working, if you feel that you can arrive at the right answer at the last page, you can work on. Okay, now moving on to the next transaction. What is the next transaction? September 15, sold goods to Bhavana on credit rupees 23,000. Business is selling goods to Bhavana on credit rupees 23,000. Okay, the value of goods is 23,000. What is the take aspect? See, business is selling goods to Bhavana for rupees 23,000. The name of the party is being mentioned here. Who is taking this goods? Bhavana. Bhavana. Okay, receiver. Business is not receiving cash. So, if it is not receiving cash, instead of cash, what should I write? I should write the name of the party. Why? It's a what type of this one this is? It's a credit sale. It is a credit sale. So, business is not receiving cash. Instead, who is receiving the goods? Bhavana. I should write the name of the party. So, what is going out of the business? What the business is giving? Sales. Who is receiving the goods? Who is taking the goods? Bhavana. Bhavana is a natural person. Who is Bhavana? Bhavana is natural person. If it is natural person, which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account tells? Debit the receiver. Debit the receiver. Credit the giver. Debit the receiver. Credit the giver. Now business is selling goods. What are goods? Goods are assets. Goods are assets. So if it is assets, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account tells? Debit what comes in? Credit what goes out. Credit what goes out. Now apply the rule. So Bhavana, she is the receiver of goods or giver? She is the receiver. So I will Bhavana account. So the sale, it is going out or coming in? It is going out. So I will credit what? I will credit sales. So what I will credit? I will credit sales. So what is the date of the transaction? September 15th. September 15th. Okay. What should I debit? Bhavana. Bhavana account debit to sales account. To sales account. What is the amount? 23,000. 23,000. Okay. Now narration. Goods sold. Goods sold to Bhavana. To Bhavana on credit. On credit. Goods sold to Bhavana on credit. Okay. Now let me go to the next transaction. Okay, next is cash. September 18, cash paid to Radha Krishna on account. See the previous entry. See, on September 8, business has purchased goods from Radha Krishna for rupees how much? For rupees 25,000. For rupees 25,000. Okay, business had purchased goods from Radha Krishna on September 8. When? On September 8. Business had purchased goods from Radha Krishna for rupees 25,000. How much is due? How much the business has to pay? Okay, it had made credit purchase. Business had purchased goods on credit. Totally how much it should pay? 25,000. But now on September 18, okay, business is paying 15,000 to Radha Krishna. Okay, out of 25,000, it is paying how much? 15,000. Okay, on her, what is it? Cash paid to Radha Krishna on account. Okay, he has to pay 25,000. So out of 25,000, he is paying how much? Business is paying rupees 15,000. To whom? To Radha Krishna. To whom the business is paying? To Radha Krishna. So rest how much is due? 10,000 is still outstanding. It is still pending due. Okay. Now it is paying 15,000. So I have to pass the journal entry. Now see. Business is paying money to Radha Krishna. So who is the receiver? Radha Krishna. Who is the receiver? Radha Krishna. What is the take? Who is taking the cash? Radha Krishna. What the business is giving? What is the give aspect? Cash. Radha Krishna is a person, natural person. So which account rule? Personal account rule. Which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account tells? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Debit the receiver and credit the giver. Okay. Cash is a asset. Cash is a asset. If it is asset, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account tells? Okay, cash is a asset. Real account rule you have to apply. So what does real account tells? Debit what? Comes in He is the receiver or giver? He is the receiver. So I will debit what? I will debit Radha Krishna. So business is paying cash to Radha Krishna. It is coming in or going out of the business? It is going out. So I will credit what? I will credit cash. So what is the date of the transaction? September 18. September 18. What should I debit? I should debit Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna account debit to cash account. To cash account. How much? Rupees 15,000. Rupees 15,000. Narration. Okay. Cash paid to Radha Krishna on account. Okay. Narration. Cash paid to Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna on account. On account. Okay. So this is the narration. Okay. Now moving on to the next transaction. What is the next transaction? September 25th, received check from Bhavana in full settlement of her account. Okay, so fully she's settling her account. So business had sold goods to Bhavana on September 15th. Business had sold goods to Bhavana on credit. Okay, on September 15th. Okay, there was credit sale. For how much? To Bhavana for rupees 23,000. Okay. Now Bhavana, she is settling her account by paying how much? By paying 22,500. Okay. Bhavana, she is settling her account. Okay. So she is closing her account. She is settling her account by paying how much? 22,500. How much she has to pay? 23,000. But she has paid 22,500. How much is less? 500. That means what this is? This is, for example, Bhavana to the business, she has paid money. For example, business had sold goods to Bhavana when, see, on September 15th. Okay, so Bhavana had promised to make payment this money after 1 month, but suddenly she's having cash in her hand. So what she's thinking? She is thinking to settle her account. So she goes to the business and she tells, I have cash. I am ready to give you the cash provided if you before 1 month. See, before 1 month I am ready to give you the cash provided if you give me discount of rupees 500. Okay, so business has given discount to her worth of rupees 500. Understood? Bhavana, she had promised to make payment. She had purchased goods. Business had sold goods to Bhavana on credit. Okay, and she had promised to make payment after 1 month, that is October 15th. But she's having money right now. Okay, she got money from some source and she wants to settle her account. And she reaches the owner of the business and she asks, I am ready to pay you the money before the maturity period, that is before October 15th. That is, I am ready to pay when I am ready to pay on September 15th, provided if you give me discount and if you settle my account, if you close my account. Okay, now in this transaction, what is happening here? Here, business received check from Bhavana. What is this business is receiving? Check. That check, business, what he will do? Businessman, he will deposit in the bank. That check he will deposit where? In the bank. So what is the take aspect? Who is taking this check? Bank. Okay. Now business is giving discount. Discount is a business is giving discount. It's a loss to the business. It's a loss to the business. Okay. Now business is giving discount. This is the business is giving discount. Here 3 accounts are involved. Now who is the giver of the money? Bhavana. Who is the giver of the money? Bhavana. Three accounts are involved here. Okay. So bank. Bank is what? Bank is an artificial person. Bank is an artificial person. If it is artificial person, which account rule? Personal account rule. Which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account test? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Okay. Discount allowed is a expense and losses to the business. So which account rule you have to follow? If it is expense and loss, nominal account rule. Okay. Nominal account is what? What does nominal account is? Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Bhavana is a natural person. So which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account is? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Debit the receiver and credit the giver. Now apply the rule. Okay, bank. Business is receiving a check from Bhavana. So bank is the receiver or giver? It is the receiver. So I will debit bank. Okay. Next here, discount allowed. It's a expense and losses are incomes and gains. It's a loss to the business. It's a loss to the business. So I will debit what? Discount allowed. Okay, Bhavana, she is the receiver or giver of money? She is the giver. Okay, so what should I do? I should credit her account. It's a compound entry. It's a compound entry. What is the date of the transaction? September 25th. What should I debit? Bank account debit. Bank account debit. Okay, how much she is paying money? Check. What's the value of the check? 22,500. Discount allowed account debit. Discount allowed account debit. How much discount business is giving? 5, but it is giving discount worth of rupees 500. Okay, so what should I credit? To Bhavana account. To Bhavana account. How much totally? 22,500 plus 500 is 23,000. Now her account is being settled. Okay, so narration. Received check from Bhavana. Received check from Bhavana. Okay, this is the narration. Okay, now moving on to the next transaction. Next transaction is rent paid by check. The business is paying rent. How it is paying rent? By check. By check. Rent paid by check. What is the take aspect? Business is using the factory building and it is paying rent. So what is the name of this one? Rent. Service. Rent. Business is using the factory building and it is paying rent. So what is the take aspect? Business is using the factory building. Okay, I cannot write building here. So what should I write? I should write the service name. Okay, rent. What the business is giving? Cash. What the business is giving? Cash. So in other terms, how you can? It is paying rent. Business is paying what? Rent. In the form of what it pays rent? In the form of cash. So it is paying cash or check? It is paying rent by check. So bank I will write down. Okay, business is paying rent by check. So bank is involved. Rent. Business is paying rent. It's an expense to the business. It is an expense to the business. So which account rule? Nominal account rule. Nominal account rule. What does nominal account is? Debit all expenses and losses. Credit all incomes and gains. Okay. Debit all expenses and losses. Credit all incomes and gains. And bank is an artificial person. What is bank? Bank is an artificial person. If it is artificial person, which account rule? Personal account rule. Personal account rule. What does personal account is? Debit the receiver. Okay. Credit the giver. Debit the receiver. Credit the giver. So rent is a expense to the business. It is not a gain. So what I will do? I will debit rent account. Okay, bank. It is the receiver or giver? It is the receiver. It is the receiver or giver? It is the giver. Because we are, instead of paying cash, we are paying rent by, business is paying rent by check. Okay. So what happens? The bank will, see, I have paid rent by check. To the landlord, I have paid the check. He will take the check and he will withdraw the money from the bank. So bank is the giver or receiver? He is the giver. Bank is the giver. So what is the journal entry? What is the date of the transaction? September 26. September 26. Rent account debit. Rent account debit to bank account. To bank account. How much? Rupees 2000. Rupees 2000. So narration, paid rent by check. Paid rent by check. Okay, so this is the narration. Now moving on to the next entry. Okay. Next entry is interest credited to our account at Canara Bank, rupees 300. Rupees 300. Interest credited to our bank account, rupees 300. Okay, what is the take aspect? Who is taking? Bank. What they are giving? Interest. What others are giving? Interest. Okay, what the other company is giving? Interest. For example, we had deposited money in some other company. That company, okay, it is paying interest. It is depositing that interest into our bank account. What is the take aspect? Bank. Who is receiving the interest? Bank. What the other company is giving? Interest. Okay. So bank is an artificial person. So which account rule? Personal account rule. What does personal account tells? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Interest. Business is receiving interest. So it is a gain to the business. It's an income to the business. Income to the business. So which account rule? Nominal account rule. What does nominal account tells? Debit all expenses and losses. Credit all incomes and gains. Okay. Now, see, bank, it is the receiver or giver of interest. It is receiving interest. Okay. So, I will consider debit aspect. Next, interest received, it's a gain or expense to the business. It is a gain. So, I should credit all incomes and gains. So, what is the date of the transaction? What is the date of the transaction? September 28. So, what is the journal entry? Bank account debit to interest account. What is the amount? Rupees 300. Okay, 300. So, write the narration. Interest credited to our bank account. Interest credited to our bank account. Okay, so this is the narration. Now moving on to the last transaction. Last transaction, paid salary rupees 3,000. Business is paying salary. What is that? Take and give as the pen write down. What the business is giving salary in the form of what? Cash. Okay. Business, it is getting its work done and it is paying salary. It is receiving the services of the employee. Okay. On which it is paying salary. What it is receiving? Services of employees. So I cannot write the services of employees here. So I should write the expense name here. Okay, salary. Salary is a expense to the business. If it is expense, which account rule? Nominal account rule. Nominal account rule. So what does nominal account tells? Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Okay, cash is a asset. If it is asset, which account rule? Real account rule. What does real account tells? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Now, salary, it's an expense again to the business. It is a expense. Or in other terms, see, if you are getting confused, you need not write this take and give aspect. Just for making you understand, I am writing it down. So, business is paying salary. In the form of what it pays salary? In the form of cash. Business is receiving commission. For example, so in the form of what it receives commission? In the form of cash. In the form of cash. Okay? This is how you should write it down. Okay? This is how you should ascertain the type of accounts which are involved. Okay? You need not write take, give aspect. So as it was the initial stages, to make you understand in a better way, I applied this concept. Okay? So business is paying salary in the form of what? In the form of cash. Okay? So business is paying salary. Salary is an expense to the business. So I should debit all expenses and losses. So there is no income and gain. Salary is not a gain to the business. Business is paying salary. It's not a gain. It is an expense. So it is paying salary in the form of cash. It is coming in or going out of the business. It is going out. So I will credit what? I will credit cash. Okay. So the date of the transaction is September 30. Okay. Salary account debit to cash account. To cash account. How much? 3,000. 3,000. Okay. Narration is paid salary.